Hey guys, Roy from Apotheca Marketing. Google just launched a new plugin for Google Sheets that integrates with GA4, allowing you to export data directly into Sheets, skipping the whole process of going into GA4, going to your report, then trying to export it, which can be a total pain. So we're going to take a look at how you can implement this and maybe some of the ways that you can use it and some of the problems you might run into. All right. So we have a Google Sheets document open, and we're using the same account that would have our analytics account associated with it. We have run into some issues with, for instance, have multiple different Google Drive accounts and Google accounts, as well as Google Analytics accounts. And we have run into issues with trying to implement this in one account and not having it work, but it does work with another account. The workaround that we've come up with is just to, give admin access to some of those analytics accounts so that the plugin can work. But it is a bug, and hopefully Google will have repair it soon because it's kind of annoying. So to implement it, you're going to go to extensions, add-ons, get add-ons, and then it's GA4 report builder. And you can see there's all these different ones. You don't want those. You want the GA4 reports builder. And you can see that it's made by Google. So that's the one that you want. You don't want to give access to other third-party tools that you don't know who did them or who they are, or how legit they are. You can see we've already got it installed. So it says uninstall, but you would just click the install button there. There is typically a delay. There's a lag between when you install it and when it actually shows up in your extensions. So just so that you're aware of that. It can take several minutes to an hour or so, depending on when Google gets around to it. So it is, once it's ready, it is under extensions. And then to create a report, you just go down to that, create a new report. And it does take a little bit. You have to name it. So you have to give it a name. We're going to just say test report. Choose your analytics account. So we're going to choose our own right here. And then you choose your property. I think it's that one. Start date. Let's do for all of August. End date today. And then this is where you put in your dimensions. And these are not necessarily super intuitive, but you do have to search for them. So let's just do landing page, just an example. And you can see what it has is the event name and then the real name. You can put multiple dimensions in here. So you could also do, for instance, host name. And I'll tell you in a second why that is an interesting one. Then you can put in users. So active users is okay. That's just people that have engaged with the page. You can also put in total users, which is even people who bounce, and then create report. So you can see here what this does is creates details about the report. It doesn't actually run the report yet because, why would it, right? Why would it just work the way you think it should? So this is just reiterating the details of the report. Then you have to go back up to extensions because of course you do. Go back into the GA4 report builder and then run reports because making it multiple steps just totally makes it much easier to use. All right, so that was a success. And then it creates a separate tab down here. So you can see it has the name of the report that we've made. It reiterates some of the data up at the top, and then it has the information that we were looking for. And so these are the landing page report. And one of the benefits of doing this is that if you have a lot of landing pages on your site, one of the things that we found is that in GA, a lot of times it cuts off if you do a standard report in GA, like a landing page report. If you go to export it, it will cut off at 250 rows. If you go into Explore and create an Explore report, a lot of times it cuts it off at 500 rows. Again, if you have tons of pages, a lot of landing pages on your site, obviously that's not enough. So this is where this tool comes in really handy. That way you don't have to necessarily import it into BigQuery to get all of that data. You can now do it here, and it will give you the larger breadth of your data than you would have gotten before. So you can see where it breaks it down and builds out your data. Now, the reason I said that I would talk about host name, this is one of the things that we've done, for instance, for some of our SEO clients, where we were able to discover that they weren't redirecting to the www version correctly on their site. So in that case, you would see www as a host name, and then also the non-www version. That's a quick little tip that you can look to see if they've redirected correctly for those pages. So as you can see, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but you can skip the step of having to go into GA4. You can skip the step of, struggling to build the report and then not getting all of the data because it cut off at an arbitrary level. So handy dandy little tool. Like I said, there are some problems with how long it takes to actually create, and there are permissions problems. But if you don't have a lot of different Google accounts that you're working with, like we do as an agency, where we have lots of our clients' accounts and all that kind of stuff that we work with, but if you just have your main one, then you probably shouldn't have any issues with it. But play around with it, see what you think. It definitely lets you get the data quicker, and then you can use this to then import into Looker Studio and bypass some of the limitations that Looker Studio and GA4 implementation has. So some data is available, for instance, in GA4 and Explore that isn't available in Looker Studio. You can bypass that with this and then import this as a data source into Looker Studio. So if this is helpful, give us a like. We'd of course love if you would just subscribe, and leave comments if you've found uses for this that you'd like to share. We'd love to hear it. And if you've run into problems, let us know what those are too, because we'd be interested in seeing the other issues that people might be having. Have a good one.